You ever have one of those days where you just want to get home, sit down, and not deal with a single extra ounce of nonsense? That was me, and yet, I somehow found myself in the middle of a grocery store showdown, teaching a woman a lesson she will probably never forget. And the crazy part? It only cost me 17 bucks. I know. That sounds ridiculous. But stick around, because by the end of this story, you'll see why it was absolutely worth every penny. Some battles in life are worth fighting, some you just walk away from, but every now and then, life hands you one of those perfect opportunities. A chance to fight, walk away, and still win. That's what this night gave me. And it all started because of a woman who thought she was above the rules. Before we dive into today's story, make sure you're subscribed and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Let's dive in. My name's Jack Morrison, 34 years old, living in Springfield, Illinois. I work in marketing, mid-level, nothing glamorous. I'm not the guy in the suit at the top making the big calls, but I'm not the intern fetching coffee either. I'm somewhere in the middle. You know, the kind of job where people say, "Oh cool, you work in marketing," but they don't actually know what you do. Anyway, that Wednesday was one of those days where everything just dragged. Back-to-back meetings, phone calls, a client who thought urgent meant email you 10 times an hour. By the time I clocked out, my brain felt like oatmeal. On the way home, my wife texted me, "Don't forget the wedges." Now, in our house, potato wedges are a big deal. They're her guilty pleasure. If she's had a rough day, wedges fix it. If we're celebrating something, wedges show up on the table. They're like the universal solution. And between you and me, I love them just as much. Crispy, golden, salty. If fries are the opening act, potato wedges are the headliner. So when she texted me, I promised her, "Got it. I'll bring them home." Seemed simple enough. But I didn't know that promise would turn into this. The grocery store was quiet when I walked in. That midweek lull. Not dead, but not packed either. Perfect. I headed straight to the deli, and there were maybe 4 or 5 people in line. I was the last one, so I pulled out my phone, scrolling through headlines, half zoning out. The deli worker behind the counter was this calm, older guy. You could tell he'd been doing this for years. He had that unshakable deli worker energy, polite, steady, moving at the same pace no matter what the customer did. The kind of guy who's seen every flavor of impatient customer and learned to just let it roll off his back. And then she arrived. This woman, let's call her the entitlement lady. I didn't notice her at first, but the energy changed the second she appeared. You know that vibe some people give off where the second they walk into a space, everyone feels it? That was her. She wasn't alone, she had a younger woman with her. Maybe a daughter, maybe granddaughter. Couldn't tell. But the younger one had that look, like she wanted to disappear into the floor the second they stopped. Entitlement lady. She marched right up, her body language screaming, "Hurry up and serve me." Foot tapping, arms crossed, eyes darting. Leaning forward just a little too close each time someone ordered, like she was trying to psychically push the line forward. When the first customer finished, the entitlement lady stepped forward. Bold, expectant, like she was next by divine right. The deli worker didn't even blink. "Ma'am, the line starts back there." She blinked, offended. "I just want some wedges." His voice stayed polite, even. "I understand, ma'am, but you'll need to wait your turn." Now, most of us, that would have been it. Embarrassing, sure, but you'd shuffle to the back, maybe grumble under your breath. Not her. She stayed there. And when the next customer finished, she crept forward again. The worker repeated, "Please wait your turn." By the third attempt, people in line were glancing at each other. You know that look strangers share when they're all silently thinking the same thing? Yeah, we were all in silent agreement. This lady is unbelievable. Suddenly she muttered to her companion, loud enough for everyone to hear, "I swear, this is pathetic. I just want some damn wedges. How hard can it be?" And that was when something shifted inside me. At first, I thought, not my circus. Not my monkey. I could have ignored her. Grabbed my wedges. Gone home easy, but no. The more I watched her try to bulldoze her way forward, the more it grated on me. See, when you're standing in line, there's this unspoken pact. Everyone's tired. Everyone's hungry. Nobody wants to wait. But you respect the order because that's what keeps things fair. And when someone tries to break that pact, oh, it sparks something primal. My jaw tightened. My chest buzzed with irritation. It wasn't about wedges anymore. It was about principle. So when the guy in front of me finished and she tried to swoop in again, I stepped forward and blocked her. Line starts behind me, I said, calm but firm. Her face twisted like I'd just kicked her puppy. This is absurdity. It's first come, first serve. I raised an eyebrow. Then I guess I'm first, and you're not. The deli worker, totally neutral. He'd clearly seen this showdown 100 times before. She stormed off a little, muttering, hovering just a few feet away. What I like to call the irritation area. That spot where people loiter angrily, close enough to argue, but far enough to avoid fully giving in. That's when I noticed something important. The tray of wedges behind the counter, almost empty. Barely enough for one more order, and I asked the worker casually, "Hey, how many wedges are left?" He glanced at the tray. Not much. We'll have to drop a fresh batch soon. About 5, maybe 10 minutes. Perfect. I smiled. All right then, I'll take what's left. And I'll wait for the next batch too. From the corner of my eye, I saw entitlement lady freeze. Oh, she heard that. She stomped back toward the counter, snapping, "Fine, might as well wait then." And so the waiting game began. Now this might sound boring. Waiting 10 minutes in line. But when you're waiting with someone who's fuming next to you, it becomes comedy gold. She huffed. She puffed. She muttered to her companion, "This is ridiculous. Wedges. Just wedges." The younger woman tugged at her sleeve, whispering something. Probably, "Please stop, you're embarrassing me." But no. Entitlement lady was in too deep. Meanwhile, I leaned against the counter, scrolling my phone, pretending not to care. Inside, though, I was loving every second. The smell of fresh wedges started drifting out of the fryer, golden, crispy, salt in the air. Everyone in line perked up, except her. She was practically vibrating with rage. I imagined her thought process. If I wait long enough, maybe I can swoop in and grab them first. Maybe they'll take pity on me. Maybe I can outmaneuver this guy. Nope, not tonight. The tray came out steaming hot, piled high with fresh wedges. She lunged forward, ready to strike, but I stepped up first. "Nice try," I said softly. Next. Her jaw clenched so tight I thought she might crack a tooth. The deli worker looked at me. "How many would you like? And here's where I sealed it." I leaned in slightly and whispered, just loud enough for her to hear, "I want all of them." The worker blinked. "All of them?" I let the words hang for a moment. Then I smiled. "Every single wedge you've got." For a second, there was silence. Then a grin spread across his face. He nodded. "You got it." He grabbed a box and began scooping, one wedge after another, piling them high until the tray was empty. Behind me came the inevitable shriek. "Are you serious?" Heads turned. People snickered. She looked at the worker. She looked at me. She looked at the now empty tray of wedges like she'd just witnessed a crime. The poor kid with her tugged at her sleeve, whispering something I couldn't hear. Probably begging her to stop, but she wasn't stopping. "This is insane. This is harassment," she barked. The deli worker raised his eyebrows. "Ma'am, he ordered them." That's how this works. I didn't gloat, I didn't smirk. I simply picked up my box, nodded politely, and walked away slowly, deliberately, giving her time to stew in the aftermath. Inside, though, I was screaming with triumph. Driving home that box of wedges next to me, I couldn't help but laugh. $17. That's all it cost to put a full stop to her entitlement. And when I walked in the door and told my wife what had happened, she nearly fell off the couch laughing. Do I wish I'd shoved a wedge in her face before leaving? Maybe sure, that would have been legendary. But honestly, watching her meltdown was enough. Some lessons are priceless. This one just happened to come fried golden brown and served with a side of justice. Sometimes life hands you unfairness. And sometimes it hands you the perfect setup to teach someone why the rules matter. That night, I didn't just bring home dinner, I brought home a story we'll laugh about forever. So let me ask you, what's the most satisfying petty revenge you've ever pulled off? Drop it in the comments, I love reading your stories. And hey, if you enjoyed this tale of wedges, rage, and sweet justice, don't forget to subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a good laugh today. Because sometimes the best revenge comes deep fried.